Johannesburg is about to get a new mayor, sometime this evening, we hope, possibly tomorrow. But once those coalitions are sealed, there's a great deal of hard work ahead for whoever dons the mayoral chain. Now, Lael Bethlehem has written an article for Business Day today, sketching the main challenges for the city. Of course, Lael has acted in a number of key positions in Johannesburg over the years, but speaks to us in her private capacity on this issue this evening. Lael, thank you so much for your time. So you've written an interesting article sketching out the 12 priorities. The top 5 are all to do with electricity and water. Very top of your list is that Joburg needs to get independent power as soon as possible, because Eskom is still unreliable and heavily coal dependent. You know, we've seen cities like Stellenbosch and Cape Town, they're making big strides, but they're all DA run. I'm wondering how quickly Johannesburg could do that, and will the choice of mayor affect the progress in this crucial issue?
Well, Sally, I think on the issue of electricity, we really need to make progress really quite quickly. We've spent many years in Johannesburg skirting around the issues with regard to power. And I think there are now 3 really big things we need to do with electricity. The first thing we must do is to procure independent power, and it should be renewable power. Johannesburg does have the advantage of the Calvin Power Station, which is a great help to the city, but it's a very old coal-fired station in great need of reinvestment. What we need now is new independent and renewable power. The second thing we need to do with electricity is we need to put all residential users onto the prepaid system. There is no reason to sell any residential user, any household, electricity on a credit system. It's a crazy thing to do, has always been, and should be changed as quickly as possible. And it's not such a difficult thing to change. The third thing we need to do with electricity is we need to fix the billing system. You know, various administrations have had the opportunity to do this and have not. It is not such a difficult thing to do. There are some key things that need to be done. One of them is to simplify the number of tariffs that are offered, particularly to commercial users. These are all doable things, and we need a mayor and an administration that is sufficiently willing to focus on the detail to get these things done.
So you also mentioned later in the article that you need a really strong team at the top. You need a really good mayor, a good CFO, and a good city manager. We're looking at what's happening in many of our hung municipalities, and the agreements to work together seems very tenuous at this stage. I mean, we all hope that everyone has a mature and sophisticated approach to governing, but just how much has politics derailed some of these things that you say should have happened years ago?
Well, you know, Sally, I think one of the worries about coalition politics is that, you know, that it might actually destabilize the mayoral position, and it might make the mayor more open to doing lots of messy compromises. And the problem is we've kind of run out of time in Johannesburg. We urgently need investment in key things, in the electricity infrastructure, in the water infrastructure in particular. We are starting to have water outages in Johannesburg. The only way that we can actually address this is to have a mayor that is really focused on a key set of priorities, and to have a city manager and a CFO who are deeply committed to the work and who are skilled. I think it's been quite a long time before we have had any of those things. So I think there's a lot at stake here. And really, as voters and as residents of Johannesburg, we have to hope that whoever does come into this administration is not only honest, skilled, but is willing to deal with the detail of running the city, because it's been a long time since we had a mayor who really drove an agenda in the city of Johannesburg.
Talk to me about water, because last week we saw Rand Water, which is of course a bulk supplier to entities such as Joburg Water. But you said there's so much maintenance that needs to be done in the city of Johannesburg. So it looks like Rand Water is doing it as much as it can to try and prepare for the future. But are we heading for a big crisis in Johannesburg, and what needs to be done urgently if we are to avoid it?
So actually, I think Johannesburg Water is one of the city's better run utilities. I think there's still a lot of very skilled people in Joburg Water, and I think they really do their best. The problem is that the capital budget that they receive every year is really very small. And Joburg's capital budget as a whole is a small budget given the needs of the city. So you are dealing in the first place with a small budget, a budget that is too small for the needs. And then secondly, there's a great deal of horse trading every year about who gets what slice of the budget. There has to be prioritization, and the things to prioritize are the water infrastructure and the electricity infrastructure. And it is a pity that there isn't really enough to deal with all priorities. But those two should be set as absolute priorities because we have really run out of time. We have got to invest in electricity transmission, electricity substations, and in water pipes very urgently. And we need to invest not for 1 year, but we need a capital program for 5 or 10 years that will really take the city forward.
You say it's been a long time since the city of Johannesburg has had a strong mayor. I know that you're speaking in your personal capacity, so I'm hoping that you'll give me a response. But when was the last time you thought that the mayorship was in good hands? Would you hazard an opinion on that?
Well, I will just say I worked under Mayor Masondo, which is a long time ago now. But Mayor Masondo was a person who really engaged with the detail of the city. And I think it's very, very difficult to be the mayor of Johannesburg. I think it's one of the hardest jobs in the country, inside or outside the public sector. And I think it's a job that requires a tremendous amount of stamina. It is a job that requires a great commitment each and every day, because the range of issues that you have to deal with as a mayor of Johannesburg are vast. And the pressures that you come under every single day are vast. And the only way to do that job well is to really get involved with the detail of running the city, but also to have a clear vision so that you are able to guide your administration, because you can't do everything yourself. So I think it's been a long time since we had a mayor who was really engaged with the day-to-day detail of running the city, but that is what we need now.